Today we're going to look at a comparison of 9 different ground force officers with Valkyrie. We're going to determine which officer pairs best with Valkyrie for maximum killing efficiency. To do this as accurately as possible, we'll deploy each ground officer and we'll destroy a level 9 Raven bunker with a fully upgraded 9.2 helicopter unit. A Raven bunker serves as a really good test because it contains each unit type and it also is a structure. The total time it takes to destroy the Raven bunker will be recorded by using the game mechanics. We'll start by using the target lock mechanic, and time will end when the last game object is destroyed from memory. Each total time will be then recorded, and we will use that to compare against all the other recorded times to determine who is ultimately the best paired officer of Valkyrie for maximum destruction.
It's the end of the road for you! Come on, boys. We're headed out.
Do not bother me with these trifles.
The will to fight comes from true belief.
Back up. Let Sergeant Spanner take a crack at it.
We will come, we will see, we will conquer.
Let's see what's harder, your head or my fist!
On your orders, Commander.
Shush now, mi amor.
And guys, my goal was to bring you a absolutely as accurate as possible test. Keep in mind that there is critical damage, critical hit rates, and a little bit of RNG in the game, but I feel like this is a much better test than most of the officer testing that's been done out there with other players, where they do it in a very inconsistent way, because a good test is a test that can be repeatable in the same exact manner, where the only thing different are the inputs and the outputs. So the results are pretty interesting. We've got Tempest Spear just absolutely dominated the scores at 21.03 seconds. And then we walk down the list. We got Guardian of Truth at 28.59. Percy, which we will talk about that here in a moment, at 29.54. War Machine at 31.34. Death Adder 33.42. And so on and so forth. And we start getting into the defensive officer lineup. We've got Thorn Countess at 34.11. Bloody Mary at 34.22, Steel Fighter 38.23, and Spanner 38.50. What's interesting about Percy is she actually is right up there in line with the other officers, even though she doesn't grant the unit any kind of firepower buff or damage buff. Her officer skill coefficient is 1200 to, say, War Machines. I think it's also 1200 to 1300 if fully awakened. So what you have to keep in mind with these numbers, guys, is there is a 40% variance in how these scores can be recorded due to the 40% chance that Valkyrie's skill has to pop off the sundered armor and do an additional 200 coefficient of damage to the enemy units. So that 40% variance can move officers up or down on the score sheet. But my takeaway from this is, since all officers were tested fairly and equally and accurately, what I take this as is potentially what the maximum potential each officer pairing can provide for the unit. So you have at the upper end of the spectrum for offensive usage, Tip of the Spear, Guardian of Truth, probably War Machine. I'm going to consider Percy maybe a little bit of a fluke, but you want to favor those for field usage and just killing enemy units as quickly and efficiently as possible, Whereas you want to start to favor, say, Death Adder, Thorn Countess, Bloody Mary Steel, and Spanner for defensive usage or just more survivability on the field. In all cases, it is Valkyrie that makes the ultimate difference on the power of the unit. She's an absolute beast of an officer, so any officer you put with Valkyrie is pretty much going to do really well. What I would advise is choose the offensive officers like Tip of Spear, Guardian of Truth, and War Machine if you're going to micromanage your helicopter very, very well, keeping it away from enemy units, so playing more of a guerrilla type of warfare. If you want to be able to take a little bit of a baptism of fire and have more survivability and maybe kill a little bit less but use fewer reserves, then you can start to favor some of the more defensive officers. And I would consider Death Adder maybe more of a happy medium. So if you kind of want to balance of both, because he does give damage resist and speed bonuses when his skill pops off. The last thing I will say is I tested this on a helicopter because Valkyrie is fine-tuned for helicopter units with her additional 5% load speed. However, she is just as of a beast on a main battle tank unit. I've played equally with both and she does equally well. I do favor the helicopter for killing as many enemy reserves as possible, but on a main battle tank, she can be really, really good just as well. And now, as always, guys, if you enjoy the content, definitely let me know. It keeps me doing more. And as always, you are watching DX7 Gaming, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.